Jay here for Stretford Paddock, and this is the Paddock podcast / tour review / impromptu brew, uncensored, whatever you want to call it. Joining me...
Circle jerk,
yeah, if you want. Joining me are three people who don't need an introduction, but I'll do it anyway. Adam McKola's here.
Yeah. Physically, at least.
Physically. Joe Smith is here.
How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. Are you?
Really good, thank you. Very nice.
Yeah, you're very warm.
Very warm.
And of course, last but by no means least, Mr. Stephen Howson. How we doing?
Super.
And
Good.
Jay Motty's here.
I'm here as well. We're all here. We're in
about, Joe?
Vegas, but we're coming home soon, so we're going to do a little review, talk about what we've learned on the tour, both us lot and what we think Ten Hag may have learned from the
decided to get on the same
from the games. Yes, we are. This is just how we sit normally anyway, even we're not recording videos. We just like to sit close to each other. Stephen, we'll start with you. Just sort of briefly, the games you've watched out here, what have you made of it? Because it's not been great, has it, in terms of results and stuff? We had one good result against Arsenal, and it sort of fell off a little bit. What have you made of the games you watched? Do you think there's been the sort of intensity and stuff that you want to see from these matches?
I think it's been really interesting in a sense that we've obviously met feels like 1 million people out here, and everyone's kind of, and I've seen the comments on the videos, everyone's kind of seeing their ass with the results. Pre-season's not about results. Pre-season's about seeing things that you're going to take into the season, and I get if you don't see 90-minute performances, but you're not going to see 90-minute performances when you make 10 substitutions in a game. You also don't know what's happened that day. And I do know that Manchester United train on match days. So you don't know if part of what, like, let's say the what you would call a second string played the first 60 minutes or so, and then the first team came on. Actually, the first team was shit compared to the second string, who looked really good and controlled the ball nice and saw some real nice patterns. I don't know if this happened specifically for the Dortmund game, but I know it has happened on the tour, is those who aren't getting the bulk of the minutes have done workouts that day. So you don't know if the lads was like, they might have done a 10K that morning or something like that. Yeah.
In
There's
44-degree Vegas heat.
Yeah. There's other factors that are going into what happens here. They trained on the Saturday, they did an open session, and they would have been fragged in that. Because pre-season, you've got to really ramp up the intensity to make it count. So it's about, for me, it's about seeing the patterns of the play. For me, it's about seeing the partnership sort of develop. And actually, you don't really want to win every pre-season game anyway, I don't think. I think that gives you a false sense of security. You want to be able to come up with some mistakes that you can then go and work on to fix. Because there could be nothing worse than, like, imagine you win every game 5-0 and your only criticism is, well, you probably could have scored 6 in that game. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like
the Van Gaal pre-season. Remember that one?
Well, exactly.
Well, we won every game, and we all thought, oh yeah, we're going into that season, we had a run of easy fixtures. You think we can do something here, and we lost to Swansea on the opening day. And
like, we popped Real Madrid around with one-touch football. We popped Barcelona around with, I think, fucking Will Keane and Januzaj and Lingard with one-touch football.
Yeah,
like, it means next to nothing. Like,
so on that front, then,
don't celebrate pre-season wins.
Do you think that there are things you can learn from what you've seen? Do you think if you got put your managers on, you think, okay, I can see that this is working. I see this players. Like Onana's the obvious one who's come in. You've seen a bit of a change with the style.
He's been the most drastic change, I think. But I think Mount just hasn't had the end product. I think there's going to be a touch of a settling in period with him. But I like what I see with him. I see like how he fits into the team. And I know people don't agree with that. And I see some comments going, he's shit and he's not done this, that, and the other. And like,
I love that.
I don't think that's the case.
Get rid of him.
I think
got him?
He's not done the goals and assists, which was the headline that he got the other season at Chelsea. But he provides defensively a levelling up, and there's a tenacity about him which I think gives a bit of steel to the middle. I think he'll be fine. And obviously,
do you know who has done the goals and assists this pre-season? No one. So it's not like Bruno, who we know is creatively phenomenal. Rashford, who can bag 30 goals a season. No one has got goals and assists. So you can't just blame Matt. You can criticise Matt for other things, I'm sure, but I think no end product for what's he played, 100 minutes or 150 minutes, whatever. I think it's not all about end product in pre-season. I don't think.
You also don't know what they're working on.
Does that worry though at all? Because okay, it's pre-season. I get every point you've made, but we have been pretty woeful in front of goal.
Yeah,
and you look at it, last season, scoring goals was an obvious issue. Other than Marcus, no one was really putting up good numbers.
Yeah.
Does it worry you at all when you're looking at it going, they don't look really sharp, or do you just think, like Steve's saying, it's pre-season, we've been here before, we're just sort of getting into it?
It is a bit worrying because like I said, when it's been an issue that we've already had, it's not, there are some things that weren't issues before that have been a bit dodgy this time. Like I said, we'll get into some of the people who've been slightly disappointing, but I think Marcus Rashford hasn't really done anything this pre-season. But we know he can get 30-goal seasons. We know he can get multiple 20-goal seasons. I'm not worried necessarily about Rashford's output. But when there's things that have already been concerns and haven't got any better, like, who's in front of goal, who's going to be there to put the ball in the back of the net, that's a bit of a concern. But obviously now there's Højlund to come in. But again, you think Martial's not been fit all pre-season, which is really not just winning the games. I don't really care about whether we beat Dortmund or not. But the fact that he's not really had a pre-season, I think he was only back in full training around the Madrid game. So he's had, a week of training? That's just a terrible way to set your season up. And the fact that we are now relying on Højlund to score us these goals when he's 20 and he's scored about 30 goals in his life.
Yeah.
Like, that worries me that we've not found a way to consistently create chances and score goals without this 20-year-old unproven player who's already going to have loads of pressure on him because he costs a lot of money. That's a bit of a concern.
Yeah.
But like Steve said, I think results themselves aren't necessarily important. Like, you look at the Dortmund game, I think United were the better team against Dortmund for most of the game. We made some sloppy mistakes which cost us 2 goals in 45 seconds, which ideally are ironed out before the season starts. I don't think we were terrible. The Wrexham loss doesn't really count because it was the kids playing against a team full of adults. And then the Real Madrid game, again, I thought was relatively evenly matched. We haven't been horrendous.
Do you know what happens in pre-season as well?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well done.
We did this ourselves this year, where there was something I wanted to work on. One thing that I wanted to work on, it was playing out from the back, and I chose the smallest pitch I could find and an opposition that I knew would batter us. We lost 5-0.
Yeah.
But I come away with it like, okay. And like, were we getting caught in possession playing out? Yeah. But that was the whole idea. And then we move on to bigger pitches and you see the improvement. You don't know if they're working on something. Like, they might have been working on the moving the ball through the middle third. Yeah. That's the one thing that Ten Hag's identified.
You spoke about this before passages of play and stuff. I remember doing a pre-season preview with you years ago. You mentioned that. Maka, you asked Erik Ten Hag about Kobbie Mainoo. He got injured, which was obviously a big shame. But we did see a little bit of him. What did you make of him, especially because he's the sort of young player that everyone seems to be talking about for a good reason?
I've been impressed with him, but again, it's like you guys have all alluded to it. It's only pre-season, so how excited do you get? We all got excited about Zanik Bao, Charlie Savage last summer.
That's fair comment.
Do you know what, though? I think he's done more than
Kobbie's
Charlie and Zidane. I think what we saw from Kobbie, man, is more than them two.
Yeah, I mean, it was so annoying that he got injured so early in that. It was the Real Madrid game.
Hey, man, you not think?
Do you think we see more from him?
We saw more out of Mainoo than we saw out of those two.
Or do you think?
Yes, I think it's in a lot more. I think the composure, the just the time on the ball and all those kind of things. But my point being is that every time we all kind of get excited about pre-season or all these kind of things don't turn out the way you want them to do all the time. But I think Kobbie's a special player. I think the manager recognises that as well in the way he's treated him, the way we've seen, like, publicly and I assume privately, the way he's been with him. It's like he's seen something in him. And he wants to develop that. He wants to nurture that. He's not putting too much pressure on him. The injury may be a blessing in disguise because it means we might get Sofian Amrabat or something a bit quicker. But I am gutted because it looked like we were working on something where Kobbie was a key part of kind of just sitting next to Casemiro possibly. And I was really excited to see how that developed, and losing that now. Let's say we start the season and Mason Mount's flying, Casemiro's flying. Suddenly it's a little bit more difficult for Kobbie to get into the team. But I think the manager likes him, so I think that chance will come again. I don't think it's a case of he's ruined his opportunity.
No, I agree. Joe, there's a few players that there's question marks around. Jadon Sancho is one, where some people think he could be going if the right offer came in. Others say, you know what, there's a player there. What have you made of him, for example? Because he's shown glimpses. We've seen glimpses of him, haven't we? But I still feel like we've not seen a full. And like Steve's saying, we don't know what's going on in terms of how many, what he's been doing in training and stuff like that.
I think he looked good against Arsenal.
Yeah.
I thought he looked pretty good against Dortmund as well, actually. I think people always say that, he's not...
What was that noise?
Adam's voice is completely gone, by the way.
Agreement.
I wasn't sure.
I think
his toe.
You always get told with Sancho, he's not that type of player, like, to go at people, to have this intensity about him. And then he does it. And then he was running in behind against Arsenal. He was driving at people against
really
Dortmund
well that game,
and did really well.
Yeah.
Playing 1-2s and running off the ball too many times last season or in the last couple of seasons. He gets the ball, he goes to the man, cuts back, passes it, and stands still. And you think, I get you can't always try and go past your man. You're going to lose the ball too often, or you want to keep possession. I get that. But then make some runs off the ball, do something. And people go, he's not that bad. But he was doing it for the last couple of games. So he can be that sort of player.
Him, though. I think
you do, but
I think Cobby possibly would have helped with that because he seemed to be just sitting there. It allows your fullbacks to get forward a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because you need to get players moving beyond Jadon Sancho.
But he also needs to do it himself, and he has been. And I've been impressed
I thought
by that.
really, I still have
think
faith
he's been
in
good.
him. You know.
So I'm excited to see Sancho this season because I don't know how this sort of false nine central thing's going to work because that would mean moving Bruno out of his main position, which I don't think is a good idea. But I think if we can see him...
What about a plan B, Joe?
Well, maybe as a plan B it's a good idea, yeah. But I think if he wants to be part of plan A, which presumably he does, then I think doing what he's been doing, more intensity, driving at plays, even if you're using it as a dummy to then not lay it off and make a run off the ball, I think he can do that.
Popping up more central as well.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I like, and maybe this kind of Mason Mount will help with it as well, is that a lot of the front fours we've kind of been playing, they're all interchangeable a lot of the time. I'm not sure how I feel about Bruno being pushed out on the side.
Yeah, that's mainly
because I think he does well there and he's amazing. And look, he's captain now, so he's going to probably feel extra sense of responsibility. But his best position is through the middle, you know, showcasing his passing ability and trying to get in the box. And so I'd like to see him put back in his normal position. Maybe it's because Anthony come back late from internationals and all those kind of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want to see Bruno out on the right. But I'm loving the interchangeability of the front line at the moment.
Yeah, he did it with last season. When was it? Southampton when we went down 10 men and he put Sancho in the middle for the end of the first half. It didn't really work, but it's obviously something he's been thinking about. Steve, what have you made of some of the players with question marks around? It's not just Sancho. You've got likes of Maguire, McTominay. Again, does it buy into this whole thing? Was pre-season doesn't sell us anything? You can't, because a lot of people have been hammering Maguire. The Onana thing was picked up on when Onana shouted at him, and everyone sort of made a big deal out of that. Whether I don't think it is a big deal, if I'm being brutally honest. But people are looking at it going, you know, the likes.
Well, your favourite goalkeeper used to do it a lot.
Edwin van der Sar has never done that. Nor has Leslie. Oh, right, Leslie, yeah, he did, to be fair. Yeah, I mean, it's not anything new, is it? It's just you don't often see it. And with David De Gea, that wasn't his style, was it? He rarely shouted at his teammates, even when they needed it. And now we've seen a keeper that's come in and straight away he's done it. And because Maguire's a bit of a stick to be beaten with, like, everyone was booing him. Well, not everyone, but people were booing him, which I think is a bit bizarre. To be honest with you, booing at your own play on pre-season, but you get
Jay realised everyone included us.
yeah, speak for yourself.
Dobbed himself.
Jay was in
I hated it, but I joined in.
Yeah,
no,
in the
I
press
didn't.
box, booing United.
Yeah,
players.
boo.
Didn't want to feel left out.
Well, do you think like if you're like for the fringe players, it matters what goes on in pre-season in this game because it's like people are trying to make things out of it.
Yeah, I think it can. I think you would obviously prefer your players had good performances than bad performances.
Yeah, that makes some sense.
But I think ultimately the results don't mean as much, but performances matter. Because I think you can still have good performances within a bad result. Because I thought Onana had a great game against Dortmund.
Same.
I thought there was a lot of positive things he did with the ball. I thought he had a couple of saves that he made that he did really well with. I thought he was sweeping up really high behind the defence. That was helping us allow stuff to run on. There was so many positive aspects to it. And then all that people, incorrectly claiming that he conceded all 3 goals as well. Like people are just like, he's conceded, blah, 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 and you're just like, I think people just look at teletext and decide what happened in the game.
You should be able to stop a free shot from 6 yards out every single time, otherwise it's a shit keeper.
Well,
Can we talk about
big
Onana?
saves as well,
Can we
though?
talk about Onana?
Yeah,
Because
go
like
on.
you said, that's probably been the single biggest change, not just personnel, obviously, but in terms of the style of play. I think we were chatting to Laurie Whitwell, obviously, from The Athletic, and he was saying that I think he had like a 97% pass success rate or something in his first game against Real Madrid. And I think David De Gea had that only once last season, that level of success. But the other big thing was something like 48% of his passes were outside of the 18-yard box when he made them. Like, that is
He's
just
marking that entire
radically
half of the
different.
pitch.
It's so different. And we saw
We
it.
noticed it, didn't we? Where there was a time when he gave the ball and he obviously wanted a 1-2.
Yeah.
Like he gave it and then went, and like the defender was having, I can't remember who was having none of it,
Yeah.
and you can see he was annoyed.
Give and go from
Yeah.
centre halves give me heart palpitations, but I like
We're
it.
not used to it.
Give and goes from the goalkeepers, fucking wild, isn't it? Yes, backhand.
Yeah. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Find me.
It's so mad because like we were saying it the other day, I can't remember who it was. It might have been even me.
Sorry,
yeah,
Macca.
McKola started hungover if you can't tell. It might have been even been me and Ethan, but you can see United's defenders are so much more keen to give the ball to him than they have been to give the ball to De Gea, which is obviously, it's just a weakness of De Gea's game.
Kovar had like 94% pass completion. Let's not forget the performance he put in before he came to America. Everyone was like, hang on, where's this come from? Because we watched Kovar, we watched clips of Kovar, let's be real, about what he did in the Czech Republic and what he was doing at Sparta. And what he was doing there, obviously helping them to a title, was a lot of shot stopping. And we're like, oh, it looks like he's got some good shot stopping. But we didn't see any of this ball playing ability. Or at least I never saw any of this ball playing ability. So when we see him in those first 2 games, and he's just like, what's this?
Yeah.
It's like we are trying to play a different way, aren't we? And some of the Onana's long balls, like clips out to Rashford. I think it was one to Bruno as well.
4.
I think he's going to get a
What's the
couple.
record for a goalkeeper?
Probably 2 or 1 maybe.
I know.
One season.
Schmeichel would have had a few in it.
He got goals.
He launched them.
Yeah, I just think it's so different, and the way he plays is so different. And I think even if his shot stopping can be average, or average for a top keeper, not the best in the world, but his ball playing ability, it makes us play so differently for 90
His
minutes.
shot stopping is not average though.
No, I'm just saying
It's
I
like
would
percentage
accept
points
it even
better
if
than
it
De
was.
Gea's.
Yeah, I would
That's the mad
accept it
thing,
even
innit?
if it was.
It's like you're improving someone. Well, you should be improving someone who's renowned for shot stopping. Actually, he's getting someone who's better, and also is in a completely different stratosphere when it comes to playing out of the back.
There will be a clanger where he basically gets an assist because he'll try a ball, he'll get intercepted, he'll be in the D and he'll get lobbed.
Yeah.
Like that's gonna happen, but that's probably it's not preferable because it's still a goal, but it's the same as like someone just not coming for a cross or playing it out for a throw in or a corner which you end up conceding from. It's the same thing. You end up conceding from those clangers, but when it's something that you deliberately action like that, it's going to get replayed, memed, and
I think when you look at all of our signs, though, they're completely changed. Like I've seen, I don't think Mason Mount's been particularly great. Me and Steve covered that in the review thing we did outside the ground, but Mason Mount changes a lot about what we do with his constant pressing, with his constant harrying, with his relentless energy. He's another one kind of from the Bruno school where he's just going to keep running and running and running for you. And that brings mistakes from opposition. That allows you where you might have lost the ball in a certain, but Mason Mount will squeeze his body into a position and flick it on or something. And I think he changes the way we press. Onana changes the way we pass out. And I know we're kind of worried about Højlund and the pressure, but he's going to come in, his movement, everything is just going to, even if he doesn't score, it's going to change. Like, like when Valvego's coming at the minute, you're like, oh my God. Like, at the start, it was like, oh shit, look, he's actually doing something.
Yeah, he just
and I think Højlund's going to do that, but
slight flaw, wasn't it?
Be a little bit better. You look at Højlund's movement as well, across the defenders in the box. Like, some of our crossing hasn't been great.
Yeah.
But a good striker with good movement can make a bad pass look a very good one.
And especially with the pace that he's got as well. Because the thing with Weghorst is he tries as hard as anyone, but there was times when he was literally half a step away from tapping a ball in, but he physically couldn't get there because he moves at the speed of a glacier.
And he can't score.
I haven't seen this.
He's not allowed to score.
Yeah.
Supposedly Sky have done Sky thing, and I'm sure Talk Sports is pending.
Go on.
But they're comparing Højlund and Haaland because
That's
they
fair.
sound similar.
Yeah,
So-
well, they're both blonde Scandinavian and they've got a name with H and land in it.
And
There you
probably
go.
both now living in Deansgate West Tower. So
Yeah, true.
There's the address if you wanted it.
all of them live in there. Just hang around.
Like Steve does.
Block 3. There's a car park just round the corner. Like so. Sky doing their whole thing comparing this, but like, I'll say this to you: Would you have signed a 20-year-old Harry Kane with hindsight?
Yeah,
With
obviously.
hindsight, yes. At the time, no.
Of course.
All right. So, Matt, would you have signed a 20-year-old Harry Kane?
No, I would have said James Wilson's mint. Fuck Harry Kane.
Yeah, I love that.
So Harry Kane scored 3 in his season on loan at Leicester. He scored 3, I think, or 4 in his first season at Spurs.
Yeah.
This is as a 20 and 21-year-old, by
Yeah.
the way. Like, I think we've probably overpaid slightly, but I think he's the right stuff. I think he improves us. I think we're probably going to bring in another forward as well.
Rasmus
I know-
Højlund.
I hope you're right, because I think we need to.
And if we're honest as well, like, Haaland could go down as one of the best strikers of all time. He's been averaging a goal a game. He's been averaging a goal a game since he was 14
Love
years
that,
old.
tapping merchant.
At professional level, at Leipzig, at
Has he got any
Salzburg,
mates,
so
though?
everywhere. But Hoyland,
Milk
he's
drinking
probably not
weirdo.
going to be one of the best strikers ever. He's probably not going to average a goal a game. Like, the expectation is different. Haaland is also probably going to leave City for about 200
big
million
club.
quid for an actual big club at some point. Like, unfortunately, Hoyland probably isn't as good as Haaland, but he didn't have a buyout clause, and he didn't have a team with infinite money willing to pay whatever it is off to the side to get him. Like, the comparison isn't fair. And if Hoyland comes in and gets us 20 goals next season, I will be absolutely over the moon at that.
Well, that's it. If he scores like 5 less goals than Haaland does, or 10 even less goals,
20.
but he's on a tenth of the wage, no one will bring that up.
It's just.
But those are
they're
the
not
things
same
that can
thing.
kill players, though, is that hype when they come to Manchester United and the pressure and the way people start talking about them. Like, we've seen it so many times. Like, the way they even add up our transfer fees, it includes everything. You know what I mean?
Oh, it includes the
Everything,
fucking taxi from the fucking
transport.
Yeah, they do it the other way around with Haaland as well, don't they? They don't include his signing on fee and the wages
it
on.
was
It's
o-
just
it was only
that
50 million,
buyout
Jack.
clause that they paid for him.
We
That's
got
the
the best
only.
striker in the world for 50
Yeah,
million.
that's all they
Bleeding.
count. And they probably play closer to like 200 million when everything's added together. Just talk about sort of the players that stood out for you. Have you got a sort of a player of the pre-season or a player of the tour, Joe? Is someone who you think you know that's someone who's really impressed me?
Yeah, a couple of players who have done slightly better than I thought they would. I do think Sancho has looked like he's gone up a notch in terms of his intensity.
Okay.
I don't think we still need more goals and assists and all that, but I do think he looks like he's trying harder, which
Yeah.
I know is a bit of a simple thing, but I do like that.
Fair enough.
Onana, another one. Like, some of the passes he was making are just insane. Like Paul Scholes-esque clips out to the wings. Obviously, he's not as good at passing as Paul
better.
Scholes, but
Yeah, he's better.
that
Hey,
style
exactly.
of pass. Do you know where he's,
Scholesy watches Onana video.
yeah, exactly. And the other one that
They had
has
posts on his wall growing up.
the other one that's sorry, who's this child that you got a picture of? The other one that's impressed me is Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Some of his on the ball stuff and his interplay has been not world class, but going from the sort of struggles that he has in that department most of his career so far to actually looking quite competent and 1-2s and controlling the ball and again trying to get forward more with it. I think he's impressed me a little bit.
I think we've seen some, from Wan-Bissaka as well. Look, we very rarely get a chance to glimpse behind the curtain, you know what I mean? But when we do, and we've been in the mixed zones quite a lot recently and, been around some of the hotels and all those kind of things, stalking the players quite clearly, he seems to be just a lot happier around the camp, a lot more relaxed, a lot more. And I don't know if that's just us going, oh, look, he's on holiday, he's buzzing. But
He's not an older.
well, you know what I mean? It just, even when I interviewed him, it just felt like he feels like he's a Man United
The
player
fact they
now, I
put
think.
him up for interviews spoke volumes as well, because he's not someone that usually does interviews.
He's done about 2 in the 3 years he's been here.
Exactly, and they put him
He
up
asked
for
though, because he heard I was there.
Yeah, exactly. He wanted to speak to
buzzing.
McKola, and he did seem like he came out of his shell a bit, didn't he? And he seemed like you say a lot more relaxed. Maka, are you going with that one, Wan-Bissaka, and is that the one that you?
Wan-Bissaka, Sancho. But let's be real, it's like receiving a cracker when you've been starving for a week watching Andre Onana.
Yeah,
So everyone's going to be like, it's Andre Onana.
yeah.
Like, because a few of those
Onana's
passes and
I
all
think
those,
you got a shot
and he
at
just revolutionises the way we play.
But I thought Onana would look good.
Yeah.
Wan-Bissaka surprised me.
Okay.
Him and Dalot did well last year. Not amazing, but well. Quite good. Like, I thought when Ten Hag came in, this is the low spot. There's not a fucking prayer that Wan-Bissaka's getting a sniff under Ten Hag. And we saw him doing the one-to-one work in the summer. And you're like, this doesn't look high level. Obviously, like, we've seen Oppa's stuff. And the stuff that you saw Wan-Bissaka doing, you was kind of like...
People got a bit excited from a clip, and you're like, hang on a minute.
Yeah, do you want me to show you some clips of some children doing
Yeah,
it
it
with Oppa,
wasn't-
and you'll see what that looks like.
Yeah.
So I wasn't impressed with that, but he's clearly stuck at it. He's clearly improved. He's clearly developed. So you've got to give him all the props in the world, because he's forced an issue now where he probably is the number one right back. So I love that when someone's worked hard and found themselves somewhere. So Wan-Bissaka's done great. Onana was great, but I thought he would be great. The answer's Kobe Mainoo.
I was going to say that'd be my one. I know he got injured, but Onana expects it like yourself. Sancho, he cost 70 million.
Declan
I
Rice
expect him to do
on
things
a
like
lead
that.
around
But
fucking...
Mainoo's a kid.
Yeah.
And the way he
That's
did,
true.
did in that Arsenal game was phenomenal. It wasn't. That's why it's so sort of disappointing that he got injured. But hopefully
He was good
come
against
back.
Leeds as well, wasn't
Yeah, you're just sort of seeing a kid here who potentially could go all the way. And It's just little things as well. Like it's good to see Martinez is fit. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously he had that injury and just little things like that. It's like you say, there's some of the results haven't been great, but the performances is enough there to sort of see what we're trying to do. In terms of the tour itself, what's been your favourite city, destination, place, any of that?
I thought San Diego was great.
Yeah.
I've never been to the West
San
Coast
Diego.
before, and it just felt nice. I like that you're near the beach. I don't even go to the beach, but I like that you can see the sea.
me
And
neither.
there's just
I'd live there if I
lived
lived anywhere.
Yeah.
In
New
America.
York's phenomenal as well.
Yeah,
New
New
York
York's
is
what
like
you
a
expect, isn't it?
cartoon of New York.
Yeah.
We were saying that, weren't we? Like, you go to New York, and some places you go there and you go, "No, it's not really like the pictures, is it? It don't feel like I thought it would." New York couldn't be more New York if it
felt
tried.
familiar.
Yeah,
Didn't it?
New York
It's
is genuinely
weird. It's
just
I've been here before.
exactly what you
Yeah.
imagine. Everywhere, giant buildings, yellow taxis, steam coming out the floor. It is exactly what you think it's
Yeah.
going to be like. The food is phenomenal. The food everywhere, I think, has been really good.
Proper
These are the different-
multicultural as well. I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love that.
New York
Yeah.
is absolutely brilliant.
Shout out to the wife for recommending a place we went in out the other day, which was
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
banging.
Yeah.
Too expensive, New York, but the rest of it is absolutely fantastic. Yeah.
Steve, what's your favourite?
Not
spot?
Vegas.
Not Vegas. No.
Oh, not
It's
Vegas.
not for you, is it?
Even
Fucking
not
hell.
Vegas.
We at a restaurant last night, and there was us and maybe 3 other people in the whole place, and I
But they weren't there.
fucking loved
That was
it.
Steve in his element. Basically in an empty room. Yeah.
It was great.
Perfect.
I didn't want to go out. I was like, should we go out to eat? I didn't really want to go out to eat. I didn't even want to get in a fucking cab. And then we get to this place. And it's called Seagulls, right? And it's in the old town of Vegas, like where the original casinos and stuff were, which have been so dated now that they're cool.
Can I just
Come
say,
round on it.
Joel found this restaurant anyway, and I found somewhere shit and cheap for us.
Yeah.
And now we're complaining it was empty.
No, he's saying he loves it.
No,
when
he's
it's
saying he
empty.
loves it. He's,
I
he's,
fucking
he's glad
loved
it
it.
was empty.
There's no wonder it was empty.
No, I loved it.
But
Now
do
the
you know
food
what?
was nice, to be fair.
It wasn't cheap or shit either.
No, it was
The
good.
portions
It
were a
was
joke. We
good
couldn't
the
finish.
portions were genuinely insane. We ordered the starter, which was some wings.
It was cheap for
And
me,
you-
by the way, because you like overpaid and I had to pay $20.
I'm supposed to do a tip.
a portion of wings, where normally you get like 6 wings for a starter or whatever.
Yeah.
There was probably 10 wings and
It was on a dinner plate.
a kilogram of chips
Yeah, it was on a dinner
for the
plate.
starter.
Yeah, that
It
was a
unbelievable.
starter.
Yeah.
And also in the description, it had 2 wings,
Yeah, but there was so
and
many.
then
They were some of
loads
the
came out.
nicest onion rings I've had in a while.
Oh, by the way, yeah, them onion
onion
rings.
rings.
Yeah,
You got a war for them.
I bought them for me. I
On
think
a whim. Yeah, well, we ate them.
the
what
hands
was
just
your-
started launching.
I ain't done my favourite.
Oh, sorry, go on.
Go on.
Steve.
So I will give shout
thought
out to
not
that
Vegas
Seagulls.
was
So
your
when he
favourite.
first said Seagulls, I was thinking it was like a thing,
Yeah.
and not the gangster.
Bugsy, Benjamin.
But favourite,
legal like Bugsy Seagull.
There you go.
See?
I liked San Diego too.
Yeah, San Diego's.
It's nice, isn't it?
It's just nice.
actually
It's good
nice.
weather. It's like
Yeah.
it's not unbearably hot, weirdly cloudy, but there was bouts of sunshine.
Sunshine indoors. Mine would be actually New Jersey.
Got some
New
area.
Jersey?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
The
I
live
Sopranos.
Go
I
all
love
the
the
way to the
Sopranos
top.
thing. I love the tailgate as well. That was in New Jersey, wasn't it?
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
which was just great.
The
'cause
tailgate was
let's
phenomenal.
never normalise the fact that we had loads of people sort of chatting to us and were dead sort of giddy to see us, which
Well, or
I
not.
think is
I did a
I
sh-
think he's crazy.
I
Still
did a
do.
shot off a modified ski.
There
There
you
was a
go.
ski with 4 holes cut in it. We all had to do it at once. And it was
How,
really
how
good.
often do you do that in workshop?
A shot
Exactly.
ski.
Yeah, a shot ski.
Shot ski.
A shot ski. So I'm going to go New Jersey, but it's been great. Listen, the amount of fans we've met and people that have been coming up to the shows love it. It's just we really do appreciate it. So big thank you to everyone on the tour.
Is there anyone? Sorry, not to
No,
not
go
to
on.
force a negative thing in here, but is there anything that's you've gone? I wish that would have been a bit. Not of the tour, like the performances or the players, or is there anything where you've gone? We need a bit more from you before the season starts.
I thought it's not really the same, but the Wrexham game was such a pantomime. It was so weird.
It was
like,
bizarre, wasn't
because it was like a Wrexham home game. All these people that was supporting Wrexham. Yeah, where I was sat, if you started cheering for United, they'd join in. I don't think they understood.
You know what my favourite part was?
yeah, booing
When
the
they booed
goalkeeper.
the wrong goalkeeper.
Oh,
Because
Is
they
that
swapped
it's half
ends.
time?
Yeah, they swapped ends. They were booing Nathan Bishop because he injured Paul Mullin, and then they swapped ends and they were booing the Wrexham keeper because they thought it was the United keeper.
yeah. We boo whichever
Poor
keeper
Mark Allen
stands in
getting
that
booed
net.
for no
I know
reason.
it was so big. That's what I mean. It was like a real pantomime. It was just weird.
But I heard what
I
Wrexham
kinda got
did.
it.
Wrexham have played an absolute
The
blinder
Wrexham
here.
did.
Wrexham could not have posted a game in San Diego before that documentary came
No,
out, which is a
100%.
great documentary, by the way. And it barely features like Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney. Like But they played a blinder with that. They put on a really big tailgate outside, which you could tell that they'd spent money on. They'd shipped a lot of stuff over.
Yeah.
They had like Welsh rarebit
I
and all
know,
that sort of
free
stuff
Welsh
there.
food. I didn't even know there was.
I
such a
also
thing.
heard what they did was they went into the club shop in that there Wrexham, and they just picked up like the last 5 years of unsold shirts. They brought them out here, and they were like, "You mate, what size are you? Large? There you go. What colour do you want? Do you want a home one? Do you want a away one?" And they just covered all these people in thingies. So they're telling the story. They're connecting with fans, and for a National League / League Two outfit, they'll have a fucking home in San Diego now, out of nothing. Like there should not have been 34,000 fucking people go and watch Man United kids versus Wrexham.
It was mad.
That's mental.
Yeah, it was.
But apparently, Ticketmaster, the dirty dogs,
Go on.
apparently the tickets were $75.
All right.
And Ticketmaster went, cool, we're going to put a little admin fee, make them $350.
Oh, is that
So
all?
people had a legitimate gripe. Because I thought, it was advertised as kids from the get-go. Like, I think Mainu's on the thumbnail of the thing.
Yeah, you always knew what.
Yeah,
was
so
gonna
it
be.
was like, I thought it was quite obvious it was always going to be kids, but apparently it was advertised differently over here.
So they thought they were going to see
Yeah.
Marcus and Brizzo,
Yeah, and
everyone.
I think they actually might
That's
have
a bit
used Marcus
shady.
in the photo.
Also, a lot of fans complained that got announced and no one knew about Vegas yet. So it was like a lot of people booked that and then
It's like the Dublin game.
because
they
it
did
was
the
so
same thing.
expensive as well, people couldn't just
Couldn't
do
do
all
that.
of them. you know?
$350 for a fucking kids friendly is mental.
That is a bit harsh. And that was the annoying thing about that game for me was just the red card. I know I should let it go, but just especially when it's a young player, it was just
He only gave that because of the.
I know
the
it was never a
tackle
red,
from
and it was
the
just
keeper.
that. If I had to pick a negative, that would be the negative. Go on, what's yours?
Customer service.
Good shout.
The customer service has been quite
Unbelievable.
hit or
lad.
miss.
Yeah.
I'd say.
When's
No,
it hit?
We've had some hits.
We've had
We had
some
one
hits.
hit last night.
We've
No,
had
we had
the
the hittest of all.
Yeah, we've had
hits.
hits that have,
Oh, yeah,
have,
you
have
guy-
made
your
up for
guy
the
in-
miss.
in the
where they've
car.
gone,
Jersey.
we're going to sort out the
All right,
miss
yeah, that
by
guy in
giving you this
Jersey
hit.
and
Yeah.
the lady
Yeah.
that we had last night. at
Because
Seagulls.
there has been, I thought America had fantastic customer service. That was what it was like, especially for
bastards.
Masters.
Absolutely
But it was
fucking not.
awful.
They want a tip as well.
I know. And it's
On
like
the-
they're annoyed that you're asking them to
Supermarkets
do
want
something.
tips now as well.
We went into a the tip thing is just bizarre because I know in certain jobs the minimum wage is lower and the tips bring it up. So I
Yeah.
get that you have to tip really because otherwise people are going to not be able to afford the
I
rent.
know. Here's a novel idea. Why don't you fucking just pay
Yeah,
them
first of
properly
all,
for
why
the
don't you
job?
pay people properly? But secondly,
But also, In and Out is like $22 starting wage for a burger flipper.
yeah,
And it's cheap.
Yeah.
So the whole argument against why they have to do the tip thing is because it'd make it prohibitively expensive. In and Out says no fucking way, do you?
my favorite one
good
was
point.
you went to like basically a petrol station. It wasn't a petrol station, but that kind of setup. So there's a man behind the counter, just sort of.
Is
stuff
this the one in
between-
San Diego?
Yeah, and we went and we do the shopping, grab your stuff, go to the counter. I bought one thing. He went boop, scanned it in front of me, put it down, and then it comes up on the thing. Tip 8.
And he was on his
18%.
phone
He
as
was
well.
on his phone.
He was on his phone. He didn't look up.
He didn't look up. He was on his phone. He's like,
Right, yeah, you've earned that, son.
I do give a tip normally, but I thought I'm not doing it there.
You gotta give a tip for anyone who's waited on you.
Yeah.
I've got no
If someone's
dramas with that.
walking around to help us out, I'm more than happy to tip.
Listen,
But yeah,
you-
petrol stations.
Unless your
do a tip.
service is above
What?
and beyond, you don't deserve a tip.
Yeah,
I've
but
been
it's
giving
not
them
the
out
same
left,
here,
right, and
is it?
centre, but
Yeah.
you don't deserve
Just
a tip.
on the pitch, I think the one thing that
Ticket prices.
ticket price isn't great, but Rashford and Shaw on the left, neither have done a lot. I think Shaw looks like he's a little bit back to that I can't be arsed defending mode that we've seen from him, and Rashford's looked very ineffective. And
Joe.
hopefully that's just pre-season, but it's just one thing that I've.
We're
kept
going to
my eye
blame
on.
Gareth Southgate.
Yeah,
Are we?
I like that.
You have to
I
spend
like
a week with Gareth Southgate. You don't want to play football.
that. Yeah,
That's true.
fair enough. Maka, anything for you that's been a bit of a like downer? If you can use
I
that
haven't
word.
said my favourite.
Oh, have you not? Sorry, I thought you said
I'm here, lads.
San Diego.
No, I didn't.
Did you not?
No.
All right, I must have imagined that.
We felt like you did.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
I just keep saying.
Right, give us your
something.
favourite, and then give us your negative. Then.
You kind of nailed it. New Jersey was mint, you know.
Yeah, good lad.
I loved it. I don't think I like Vegas. I'm still undecided. What has made me love this weekend is going to the boxing,
Oh yes. you
going
went to
Jerry
the fight,
Seinfeld,
didn't you? Yes.
going to the game. Like that has made me go, wow, you had that weekend in Vegas. That's incredible. But actually being like when I got to Vegas and you see there's like 8 lanes on the check-in, like in the front of the hotel, and you're like, why do you need so many lanes? And then you get inside and you see the check-in queue and it's like 1,000 people deep here. Like, oh Lord, I want to get out of here right now. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be here. It's 45-degree heat and you're walking around like just getting blisters. And shit.
Me and you did
It's
some
like-
miles the other
it's
day as well.
mental.
We did
And then
24K
there was
walking,
a free
bro.
tramp, bro.
I know we found that
There
out
was
the
a
next
free
day.
tramp. Yeah,
I think I had the
so-
same
No, the heat.
emotion. I turned up here and got on Skyscanner and legitimately was looking at a flight home.
You said to me that you've had enough of this. I'm going home.
Yeah, that's
Oh
not
my
a
God.
slight overreaction, is
Yeah,
it?
I'm getting a flight. Yeah,
But that was after 8 hours in the car with Ronaldo. And by the way, Avis can fuck themselves in every single possible position because they are
I can't wait until they
horrendous.
sponsor a video next
Nah, they're not
I know, yeah.
sponsoring
If they are
fucking
available for
nothing.
sponsorship, we are. You know,
Fuck
if they are looking for
Avis.
sponsorship, we
We
are
will take
available.
Budget, enterprise, you guys talk to us. Avis can fuck right
I
off.
think they own both Budget and
Yeah, don't worry
Yeah.
about that.
Thrifty.
Yeah,
Come
dollar
talk.
weren't much better, to be honest with you.
So yeah, New Jersey was mint.
New Jersey was
Like
mint.
driving around, seeing all the Sopranos shit, and
That
I
was
was
class,
genuinely
that.
living in a.
Can we just
dream
say as
world.
well, big shout out to John Shin, who's been with us pretty
What a
much
lad.
the
We've
entire
finished
trip.
him off.
Yeah, he's been
He's
mad
not talking
helpful.
to him for a
Yeah,
fortnight now.
he has. He's been class. He really has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was Ronaldo.
and
So
Wes
was
Brown.
Ethan as
We need to
well.
have a
Ethan as well.
word. Wes
Shout
Brown
out Ethan,
absolutely
by the way.
stitched me up.
Oh yeah, Wes Brown. Can we
Absolutely
just
spanked on the main street.
can we say this as well? Wes Brown did stitch you up, didn't
Fucking
it? Because I was
bastard,
watching
yeah.
this, going, "What are you doing? What are you on about?" And then
Not
you told me
bad.
the reason behind it. You did a little bit of an event with legends, and you guys, Macca and Steve, did Robbo, Chocky, and Wes Brown. And Steve had some well-researched questions for Wes Brown, didn't you?
Right, 2.
Go on.
And he stitched me on both, right?
Explain
so
yourself.
if you go on my channel, there's a podcast with Wes Brown where he talks about how they worked on isolating Essien with Ronaldo.
For the 2008 final. in
Yeah,
case anyone's wondering.
yeah, which Wes got the assist for. So I said that was worked on. Didn't we were
In
talking
front of
about
a crowd
Fergie
of
being.
people,
We
this
were
is.
talking about Fergie being a man manager, and I said, "Do you think Fergie gets a bit of disservice because people just think he shouted a lot, but he was actually quite a tactician, wasn't he?" Example being that this thing that he worked on, he went, "Oh no, we didn't work on that." I've literally got him on another video telling him that he worked on
to
it.
me as well, because I
Not
mentioned
bad.
he was Jimmy Murphy Player of the Year in '99. and he
Yeah,
went,
no, I wasn't.
No, I wasn't.
But he
was
was.
like,
He
bro,
was, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
And did you do the thing with you on pre-season well, where you said
Yeah,
you
well,
asked
he
him
goes-
beforehand?
I sat down and I
Yeah.
was like with a mic. I went, "Oi, give me some pre-season stories." We're on pre-season, and I heard that 1999 was a bit of a mad one with Dwight York and
Shock.
laying pipe like British Gas. So I said, "Have you got any
Allegedly.
dinky
Yeah.
stories?" No, I think it's in everyone's book. We don't. We
Allegedly.
even know the lady. So don't worry about that.
Go on.
All right, allegedly, if you want, but it happened. The
Allegedly.
So I went, I said, "You got any pre-season stories?" He goes, "Oh yeah, ask me." 99, Australia. I went, mint, because I kind of know that story. So I said, "Oh, Wes, you've been on some pre-seasons about after 99 with the treble and all that. Like, that must have been good." He went, "Oh, I didn't go, I was injured." Wesley! Fuck!
So Steve thought the ideal reply was, "You were injured. Shock."
Just insult the downfall
Insult
of his entire
the
career.
He
legend in front
fucking
of the
earned that.
crowd. Yeah.
He
I love
bought
Wes
that
Brown, by
himself.
the way.
Yeah, I do.
I absolutely love Wes Brown.
Seen a
And I
bit
love
of him on the
Chocky.
trip. Yeah.
Class.
Chocky
class.
is.
It's mental as well,
outstanding.
being on stage with Brian Robson. Like, how did we end up there? Do you know what I mean? Alex Stepney was quality.
Amazing.
He's one of
Yeah.
my favourite people
Nice,
in the
one of the
world.
nicest blokes ever, innit? Just really humble.
he's got
Big
the-
friendly
the-
giant.
The
Yeah.
best way of telling stories as well.
Yeah.
And he tells a story and you go, he feels like a granddad. Like, I never had a granddad on my mum's side, and I just mentally decided that Alex Stepney is my granddad on my mum's side, right?
Fair enough.
And when you're listening to him tell stories, it's like Jordan Wibble that your granddad comes out with, and he's talking about Frank that he used to work with down the mine. And then Alex Stepney's doing those stories, and you're sitting there listening, all like nice and warm and fuzzy inside. He goes, he's talking about George Best
Yeah.
and Matt Busby.
I think he got 3 rounds of applause, Alex Stepney, because his stories were so good.
Everyone quieted down
He
didn't
was
when he was. So
amazing,
it was
yeah.
like there was popular like we need to listen to this, and he's talking about saving a shot from Eusebio in the last minute.
Sure
of the
I mean?
European Cup final.
It's unbelievable.
10
My
years
granddad's
after
got the
Munich.
best
I
stories.
loved
Listen
how
to
much he
this.
spoke about Nobby Stars as well, because I love Nobby Stars.
Did you hear that story when he said about him chinning that player? When they had a good player, but thankfully Nobby Styles knocked him out.
It's like-
right,
I love
right
Nobby.
up to him in the first half. Whatever
Nobby
you're like,
Stars made
what?
Let him know you're there, Jay.
England relevant in the world scene, winning that World Cup. Bobby Moore got a statue. Where the fuck is Nobby Styles?
That's a good shout. That.
Where is it?
Only one of 2 men that's played for England.
Mark Dusable out
and
again.
won
Both
the
times.
World Cup and won a European Cup as well, and started in the final.
There you go.
Yeah, there's a
Every
Liverpool
minute
player
in the-
that
every
did
minute
both.
in the World
He
Cup.
didn't play in the final.
Played
So,
in every minute in the World Cup.
what
And
a
couldn't
man.
see his hand in front of his face.
What a legend. Absolutely. And there's a street named after him in Collyhurst, I think.
It's a fucking disgrace that that's all there is.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But you put that man's CV up against anybody's, and the impact that he had on United and the success that United and England had in that golden era when they were both absolutely rassing it up. And like I said, it felt like it was far too late when he was passing. That he should have been knighted. He should have been whatever he needed to do before then. It's bullshit.
It is an absolute legend, and
Because
hopefully
I guarantee Steven Gerrard ends up as Sir at some fucking point.
Let's not get started. If you don't know enough about or a lot about Nobby Styles, go and have a Google and have a look at it.
Read his book; it's amazing. You know,
really, after
it's
the
a great
ball, his
book,
book's
actually,
called. Yeah, really good. Absolute legend, lads. I think this is it, isn't it? Is this
Been
the
a pleasure.
This is the end of the tour.
no,
Are we going to do one on Saturday in Dubbers?
no, we're in Dublin.
No, McKola's going to be there. Howson's
I'm
going to be in
finished.
Dublin. If
I
he
haven't even
can
got a voice left.
if he's got any voice left. So
if he
make sure you
recovers,
check
he's
that
going
out.
on the bench actually on Saturday.
I'm
So
not-
if you're
I'm
in
not-
Dublin,
I'm not turning up if I'm on the bench. I'll be honest with you. I don't get out of bed to go on the bench.
You don't
So,
put
yeah,
Adam McKola
Macca's
on
gonna
the
You
bench.
get out of bed to go on a
couple minutes.
sofa, but not a bench.
Not a bench. So make sure if you're not doing
Yeah,
already,
for
you
three.
subscribe to the channel. You don't want to miss out on that. Go and check out Macca on his channel as well. You know where to find him.
Stop plugging other things. Subscribe Stretford Paddock, you
Right.
silly
All right then. Do
twats.
you know what? Fine. Subscribe to Stretford
We've
Paddock.
been out
Don't
here.
bother with anything else. I've got
Oh,
no
no,
fuck
plans
me,
about that.
fuck Joe,
Yeah.
fuck Macca,
Yeah.
fuck the Scotty and the Motty shit, smoking
Yeah.
Mancunian as fuck,
Yeah.
and just fucking
Look at us.
subscribe. Tell a
We've
friend
got
and go
a
fuck
podcast,
yourself.
Oh, yeah, nice. Twats.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for watching.